Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to the audience. My name is Nursyafiqa binti Anwalayani, and together with me is my teammate Nursyafiqa Izzati and Tengku Mawadah. We are from the Faculty of Law and International Relationship, University Sultan Zainal Abidin. We'll be presenting our research, which is the legal challenges and the human rights concerns of female circumcision in Malaysia. Female genital mutilation, which is also known as female circumcision in Malaysia, is a practice that involves the partial or total removal of external female genitalia for a non-medical reasons. The World Health Organization has viewed female circumcision as a harmful practice that infringes human rights of women. Despite Malaysia has been a party of international treaties such as the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms Against Women and the Convention on the Right of Child, which advocate against harmful practices such as female circumcision, the practice of female circumcision in Malaysia remains widespread due to the cultural and religious influence. In 2009, the National Fatwa Council, which is the highest Islamic authority in the country, has issued an edict making female circumcision mandatory for the Muslim girls, further normalizing and medicalizing the practice. In consequences, banning the practice of female circumcision in Malaysia will only worsen the situation as it has become one of the religion obligation. The absence of clear legal prohibition has hindered the development of cohesive legal and policy guidelines to address the issue of female circumcision in Malaysia. Thus, there is a need for a comprehensive, right-based approach for female circumcision that respects Malaysia's social-cultural context while safeguarding the women's rights.
Now that we have an understanding of what female circumcision entails, let's take a closer look at the problem statements surrounding its practice. Firstly, female circumcision in Malaysia has been practiced for customary and religious purposes for ages, particularly among the certain Malay Muslim communities. Secondly, there is no specific female circumcision guidelines were introduced by the government or any authorized body, leaving it unregulated and also potentially increasing the risk of harm such as infection. Even midwife still can do female circumcision procedure for even with no sterile equipment or also environment. Thirdly, there is absence of legal protection for victims when malpractice happens in case there is permanent impairment where this also will leave the victim to be vulnerable to the continued harm and no accountability were made because there is no specific law that protect the female infant who undergone this procedure.
Objective of this research is to understand the practice concept of female circumcision in Malaysia and to analyze the current procedure of female circumcision in Malaysia. Also, the main objective of this research is to propose a guideline for female circumcision in Malaysia in order for it to be recognized like a male circumcision guideline.
I am Nursyafiqa and I will continue with the research questions. The first one is, what is the concept of female circumcision practiced in Malaysia? The second question is, what is the current procedure for female circumcision in Malaysia? The third question is, how can the medical guidelines ensure the safety of female circumcision in Malaysia? Next, I will continue with the significance and contribution of this research to the four sectors. It starts with the academic sector, which it helps to implement formal learning methods in the curriculum, also contribute to the expansion of knowledge to the medical practitioner. Meanwhile, for the second sector, it will help to recognize the practice of female circumcision because of the guidelines and acknowledge the practice is safer when it's done by medical practitioner. The third sector is medical practitioner. This research will help them with producing a guideline on safe practice of female circumcision. Also, they will have a valid license to do the procedure with the protection of law. The fourth sector is the government sector. This research will contribute to the one of Sustainable Development Goals, that is the third goal, health and well-being. Also, this research will align with the objective of the Malaysia Ministry of Health, that is to provide a health system with superior quality.
Let's now turn to the result of our research. Our finding provide crucial insight where the practice of female circumcision in Malaysia is due to cultural and religious belief, particularly among the Malay Muslim. As in the religious, in Islam, it is considered wajib for the small children, for the baby to berkhitan as in Malay, which stands for female circumcision. Malaysia also practice type 1 and also type 4, which are considered less harmful to women to be compared to type 2 and also type 3, where it is more severe, where it involves cutting, labia, and stuff like that. Because type 1 and type 4 usually only involve clitoris or pricking using needles, something like that. Our finding also found that Malaysian government should enact a comprehensive guideline and standard for the practice of female circumcision, which comprises all these requirements, where it emphasized the use of sterile instrument and the performance the procedure in the safe environment. Secondly, the specific qualification and training for practitioner on medical, ethical, and cultural aspect. For example, the doctor can attend seminar so that he can gain latest knowledge, not something they just learn from their seniors. Penalties must be imposed for non-compliance of these guidelines. Thirdly, the informed consent from guardians is required, with comprehensive information provided about the procedure and alternative, where the parents must know the consequences because the doctor had already explained thoroughly to the guardian. Uh, Lastly, the monitoring and the enforcement mechanism, including regular audits, reporting system, ensure compliance with guidelines. Uh, we also found that only type 1 and type 4 of female circumcision should be allowed in Malaysia. Malaysia's practice in order to ensure safety of women because it only involves the partial or complete removal of clitoris, pricking, piercing, or incisions in the genital area where it is not way too severe and doesn't have a major negative consequences to the baby. Um, Public awareness and education campaign must also be implemented in order to inform the communities about the new regulations and the health risks associated with female circumcision.
In conclusion, there is an urgent need for Malaysia to develop a comprehensive guideline for female circumcision that prioritize safety, ethical standard and include the protection of women's rights. This involves clearly define the practice, setting medical standards, monitoring procedure and raising public awareness on the health risks and human rights implications associated with female circumcision. Through this measure, Malaysia can create more responsible approach that ultimately safeguarding the health and rights of women and girls across the Malaysia.